Hey everybody, so how to have a conversation with somebody you just met and have them think that you're awesome. This is a really, really useful skill, and it's a great part of interpersonal skills that's going to really help you in your career. Now, if ever you've needed to do an informational interview with somebody, you know what I'm talking about, okay? It's all about being able to have a conversation with somebody that you initiate, but the goal of the conversation, or at least one of its goals, is to have them like you, okay? This is going to be very important if you're doing a job search or you're doing a job search in the hidden job market, which is basically you're reaching out to hiring managers and things like this. And one way of doing it is to have informational interviews with them, where you basically contact them and say, look, you know, could I speak with you? Could you spare half an hour of your time? I'd very much like to ask you a few questions about your industry or something like this. And, you know, they say, sure, yeah, I got half an hour. And then you meet them. Now, I've done a hell of a lot of these in my career, and I'm sure that a lot of people out there have too. Also, maybe you just are thrown together with somebody else. Maybe you're at a trade show or a conference or, you know, an event of some kind, and this is a business-related situation, and you have to have a conversation with somebody. You know, you're just standing there, and the right thing to do would be to initiate a conversation, and not just a conversation where you get them to talk, but a conversation where you get them to want to talk to you and enjoy talking to you. Okay? Let's talk about how to do that. Now, okay, I suppose when people talk about this stuff, the first thing they talk about is the icebreaker. A lot of people, I understand, are very nervous about the icebreaker. What's the first thing I say? How do I get them to want to talk to me? Like, how do I open a conversation with them? And people find this very nerve-wracking. Technically, I think the way it goes is that the icebreaker technically should be something you say, and it's talking about something that you and the other person have in common. Okay, now, probably the most cliched, cartoon-esque example of this is to ask somebody about the weather, right? Maybe it's raining outside, you know, a storm is developing or something, you know, and you say like, hey, how you doing? You know, like, what's with this weather? You know, terrible weather. Did you get caught in this? Or something like that. Did you get caught in the storm? You know, that's something that the other person is going to be able to speak to because it's something that is affecting you both, right? It's happening right now to both of you. You're both aware of it, and it may affect you both. So it's a great way to open a conversation. Now, I've said this before. I'll say it again. My favorite icebreaker, if you're in a business context, you're talking to, you know, another person, a manager. I've spoken to tons and tons of other CEOs and a lot of executives, you know, at their office, at a Starbucks, at a trade show or an event, and you know, my favorite icebreaker, my generic icebreaker for everybody is just to say, hey, you know, how's business? It's short, it's appropriate, and the great thing about if you're having a conversation with a manager or an executive, somebody who has some kind of decision-making lead role, where they have control over a business operation, asking them how's business is great because you can be assured that they will have an interest in that and they will have an opinion on it. They will have something to say about that. So I found that that's very, very powerful if you're in a business context, just to say, hey, so how's business? And yeah, that works wonders when you're talking to managers, things like this. Now, after the icebreaker, okay, the way you would structure your conversation, all you have to do, okay, is simply ask them questions, okay? Nobody likes somebody who comes up to you and then starts talking all about themselves, especially if it's someone you don't know. Some person that approaches you, you know, you didn't initiate the conversation. They came up to you and they start telling you all about them. Now, don't get me wrong, you know, depending on what the person has to say and how they do it, it might not be the worst thing in the world if you did it for a little bit. But generally speaking, people are interested in themselves. Okay. People love to talk about themselves. People like to talk to others about themselves, their opinions, what they've been doing, what's on their mind, what are some things that have been frustrating them, what are some problems they're having, what are some successes. We all could talk for a very long time about us, right? So that's what you want to tap into. The other great thing about that is that if they start telling you all about them, it's a learning opportunity, right? Now, especially if you're talking with somebody who's higher up the organizational chart than you. Maybe you're in that job seeker situation and you're doing informational interviews with different hiring managers. You haven't told them that, you're looking for a job. This is just like you're wanting to get to know them. You're wanting to get to know their company or their industry or, whatever. And a great side effect would be if they speak to you for a little while. And then number one, they really like talking to you. Number two, they also think that you're a great person, that you're awesome. Okay. So the way to do that is just you ask questions to them about them. You say, if you start with, how's business? They start talking about their business and their company and their job and, that kind of thing. And then you just ask follow-up questions. You could say, oh yeah, really? How long have you guys been doing that? Or is that the only way of doing this? Or, do you guys take the same approach that your competitors do? Or do you kind of do it differently? And then you just respond and you keep asking questions. Now, trust me, if you do that to a manager or an executive, especially an executive, they will love you, okay? Because this is stuff that's on their mind. This is stuff that they certainly can talk about and they want to talk about. And if you ask them about it, number one, it's flattering that you are interested in them and their business and what they're doing. But also, they will love the act of just having an opportunity to talk about the stuff they want to talk about, their opinions, their situation. So this is extremely powerful. And, that's all you have to do is have a good icebreaker. And yes, you can borrow, so how's business? You can have that. And then just ask questions, ask follow-up questions. And wherever the conversation goes, it goes, right? Don't talk about yourself unless they stop and say, so what about you? And they ask you about you, in which case, keep it brief, but then quickly turn it back around and ask about them. Now, a couple of caveats here. Number one, how can I put this? People don't like being told they're wrong. People don't like being told no. Don't do that. So if they tell you about their business and they tell you what they're trying to do and you say, I don't think that's going to work, or, I've heard bad things about that, blah, blah. People don't like that. People, they want to hear positive stuff. Okay. Because remember, we're not trying to win an argument. We're trying to learn and we're trying to have them enjoy talking to us. So if that's your goal, this is the thing to do. Okay. That's the first kind of caveat. The other caveat is that depending on the person that you encounter, sometimes they could go on forever, right? So if you book time, like for example, earlier I said, for example, maybe you have a half-hour informational interview scheduled with somebody. Now, if you said half an hour, stick to half an hour. Don't get them to talk more and more and more so it goes past half an hour. It goes 45 minutes, an hour and a half. Trust me, that might sound silly, but if you do this, that's what happens. This is a problem I've had many times. So if you said half an hour, keep it to half an hour. Keep track of time. If you have a watch or you've got a phone or whatever, or, you could say, man, I said half an hour and I don't want to keep you. This has been very interesting. I'd love to talk more, but, I don't want to intrude into your busy schedule. So thank you very much. And then you leave the conversation open you leave them wanting more, not leave them wanting less. So that kind of paves into, would I be able to give you a call if I had any more questions about this? Something like that. And, if they say, yeah, sure, here's my card, here's my number, that kind of stuff. This is how you have very, very positive interaction in a business context with somebody that it could be advantageous in many ways. It could be advantageous in terms of your career to get a job, if you're looking for a job on the hidden job market, or it could be advantageous just in terms of making a business contact or anything like that. It could turn into you do business in the future or anything like this. So this is a very real skill, and I highly encourage everyone, if you really want to develop your management skills, your interpersonal skills, and communication skills, would be to set up some informational interviews. LinkedIn is a fabulous tool. I've done many videos on how to do this. Just basically you send out, you find the people at the companies in your immediate area that are in your industry or in an industry you'd be interested in working or interested in learning about. And then thanks to LinkedIn, you can find the individuals in those organizations. You can send contact requests to them, and then you just send them a message. And you say, hey, I'd love to talk to you. I've got some questions about this industry. Would you be able to spare me half an hour of your time, a time and place of your convenience, something like that. And you'd be surprised where those can lead. And there's the other advantage is if you're a job seeker, there's not many other people doing this. And it's really a tool. A lot of people don't believe it, but it's true. This is exactly how it works. So anyway, hopefully that was interesting. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions about this or about anything else. Check out some of the other videos I've done. There's some videos on this channel. There's also some videos on my other channel, The Company's Expert 2. Subscribe to that if you weren't aware of that. But check those out, and I hope you got some value. Thank you very much. I'll see you on the next one.